Welcome to my channel, where we make learning English easy, fun, and accessible for everyone. My name is David, and I'll be your guide as we embark on this exciting journey together. Whether you're a beginner or someone looking to improve your conversational fluency, you're in the right place. In today's lesson, we're diving into an important topic. Can you speak English fluently in 5 months? Spoiler alert, yes, you absolutely can. And today, I'll show you exactly how to achieve this step by step. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand what fluency really means, how to achieve it, and how to maximize both your learning time and the quality of your practice. We'll also cover some common myths about learning languages and break down the most effective methods to help you succeed. What does it mean to be fluent? Before we talk about how to get fluent in English, let's take a moment to define what fluency actually means. Many people misunderstand the term and think that being fluent means you speak a language perfectly, like a native speaker. But that's not necessarily true. In fact, fluency doesn't mean you have to speak English perfectly. Fluency simply means that you can communicate effectively and naturally without too much hesitation. Imagine water flowing smoothly down a river. That's what fluency in a language feels like. Your words come out naturally and you don't have to stop and think too much before speaking. To be more specific, fluency in English means smooth and easy communication. You can speak in a way that flows naturally. Confidence. You feel comfortable expressing your thoughts, even if you make mistakes. Conversation ready. You can hold a regular conversation about everyday topics, like talking about your day, asking for directions, or discussing your hobbies. It's important to note that fluency is not the same as native-level perfection. Even native speakers make mistakes from time to time. The key to fluency is communication. If you can communicate your thoughts clearly and understand others, you're fluent, even if you don't know every single word in the dictionary, or if you make small grammar mistakes. That's okay. We're not aiming for perfection here. We're aiming for natural, effective communication. The concept of fluency in 5 months. Now that we know what fluency is, let's talk about how you can become fluent in 5 months. You might be wondering, is that really possible? The answer is yes, but it requires focus, commitment, and the right approach. First, let's clear up a common misconception. Time alone doesn't determine how fast you learn a language. It's not just about how many months or years you spend learning, but how you spend that time. Someone who studies for 2 hours every day for 5 months can achieve fluency faster than someone who only practices once a week for 5 years. It's about quality and quantity. You need to combine the two for the best results. Quantity. How much time should you invest to achieve fluency in 5 months? You'll need to invest a significant amount of time into learning and practicing English, but how much time exactly? A general rule of thumb is about 600 hours of focused, effective practice. That may sound like a lot, but let's break it down. 600 hours over 5 months equals roughly 20 hours per week, or about 4 hours per day. If you're serious about learning English quickly, you'll need to commit to practicing every day. Now, you might be thinking, 3 to 4 hours a day sounds overwhelming. But don't worry. This doesn't mean you have to sit at a desk studying grammar for 4 hours straight. In fact, that would be a bad idea. You can split your practice into smaller chunks throughout the day. For example, spend 1 hour in the morning listening to an English podcast while you have breakfast. Use 30 minutes during lunch to review vocabulary or read an article in English. Watch a 45-minute English TV show or YouTube video in the evening, focusing on understanding the dialogue. Spend another 45 minutes practicing speaking by repeating phrases or having conversations with yourself, friends, or an online language partner. By breaking it up, you make it more manageable and can fit language learning into your everyday routine. Quality. How should you spend your learning time? While the number of hours you spend learning is important, the quality of those hours is even more crucial. You could spend 5 hours a day passively listening to English with no focus, or you could spend one focused, engaged hour practicing specific skills, and the latter will give you better results. So how do you maximize the quality of your learning? Focused practice. Don't just passively listen to English. Pay attention actively. Try to understand what's being said. Notice how sentences are structured and repeat key phrases out loud. Comprehensible input. Make sure the material you're studying is at the right level for you. It should be challenging enough to push you, but not so difficult that you feel lost. If you're watching a TV show or reading an article where you only understand 10% of the words, it's too hard. Aim for around 80%. This will help you learn without getting discouraged. Speaking practice. You must practice speaking if you want to become fluent. Reading and listening are important, but speaking is the only way to develop fluency. Find a language partner or tutor to practice with, or even talk to yourself. Practicing speaking out loud will help you build the confidence and muscle memory needed to speak naturally. Emotional engagement. The more you enjoy the process, the faster you'll learn. Choose topics that interest you and find ways to make learning fun. Watch movies you love in English, read about your hobbies, or listen to English music. You don't need a huge vocabulary to be fluent. One of the biggest myths about fluency is that you need to know thousands and thousands of words. In reality, you only need around 4,000 common words to hold everyday conversations in English. Think about it. In daily life, we mostly talk about common, everyday topics like the weather, food, work, family, and hobbies. You don't need to know advanced vocabulary like metamorphosis or subatomic to have a normal conversation. A smaller, more focused vocabulary is much more effective than trying to memorize thousands of words you'll rarely use. Start by mastering the most commonly used words and phrases in English. You can gradually expand your vocabulary as you go, but to get fluent in 5 months, focus on learning words that will help you communicate right away. The power of listening. Train your ear to understand English. Listening is one of the most powerful tools for learning any language. When you listen to English, you're not just learning vocabulary. You're also training your ear to understand the natural rhythm, intonation, and flow of the language. This is critical for fluency. Spend as much time as you can listening to English. You can listen to podcasts, audiobooks, YouTube videos, TV shows, or movies with music. The more you listen, the more you'll start to pick up on how native speakers connect their words, which will help you improve your own speaking skills. But remember, passive listening is not enough. You need to actively listen. Pay attention to how words are pronounced, how sentences are structured, and how native speakers express themselves in different situations. Speaking with confidence, don't be afraid to make mistakes. One of the biggest barriers to fluency is the fear of making mistakes. Many learners are afraid to speak because they don't want to sound silly or say the wrong thing. But here's the truth. Mistakes are a necessary part of learning. In fact, the more mistakes you make, the faster you'll improve. When babies learn to speak, they make tons of mistakes. They say words wrong, they mix up grammar, and they mispronounce things. But they keep trying, and eventually they become fluent. You need to adopt the same mindset. Don't be afraid to speak, even if you're not 100% confident in your grammar or pronunciation. Remember, fluency is not perfection. Fluency means being able to communicate effectively, even if you make mistakes. As long as people understand what you're trying to say, you're on the right track. To help you build confidence, start by practicing in a low-pressure environment. Talk to yourself in English at home, practice with a friend, or use language apps where you can speak with people from all over the world. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become. Repetition is key. Train like a champion. Think of language learning like training for a sport. If you want to become a champion athlete, you have to practice regularly and with intensity. The same goes for learning English. When athletes train, they don't just try a new skill once and move on. They practice it over and over again until it becomes second nature. You should approach language learning the same way, repeatedly, until it becomes a natural part of your vocabulary. This is called spaced repetition, and it's one of the most effective ways to remember new information. Here's how you can use repetition in your daily English practice. Review vocabulary regularly. Every day, review the words and phrases you learned the day before. Use flashcard apps like Anki or Quizlet, or simply write them down in a notebook and go over them at different times of the day. Use new words in sentences. As soon as you learn a new word, use it in a sentence. Try creating different sentences with the same word throughout the day. For example, if you learn the word opportunity, try saying things like, "This is a great opportunity to learn English," or "I had the opportunity to meet new people today." There's an opportunity to practice English in this conversation. Practice speaking out loud. This helps you get used to the sound of your own voice speaking English and builds your confidence. The more you practice speaking, the smoother and more natural it will feel. Revisit old lessons. As you continue learning, go back to previous lessons and review them. Language learning is not a straight line. You need to revisit material multiple times to truly master it. Remember, repetition isn't boring. It's how we train our brains to absorb and retain new information. The more you repeat a word or phrase, the more easily it will come to mind when you need it. Immerse yourself in English. Surround yourself with the language. Immersion is one of the best ways to learn a new language quickly. When you immerse yourself in English, you force your brain to constantly engage with the language, which speeds up the learning process. You don't need to move to an English-speaking country to immerse yourself in it. When you learn a new word or phrase, don't just look it up once and move on. Use it. Surrounding yourself with English can be done in practical ways no matter where you live. Change your environment to English. Set your phone and computer to English. This is a small but powerful step. By changing the language settings on your devices, you'll get used to reading and navigating in English throughout your day. Watch TV shows and movies in English. Start with subtitles in your native language if you need them, but over time, switch to English subtitles and eventually no subtitles at all. Pay attention to how people speak and try to repeat sentences out loud. Listen to English podcasts or audiobooks. Choose topics that interest you so you stay engaged. Listening to English while you're commuting, exercising, or doing household chores can make a big difference. There are podcasts for every interest, whether it's storytelling, news, comedy, or educational topics. Create English-only zones. Designate certain times of the day or certain areas of your home where you only use English. For example, when you're in the kitchen, try to think and speak in English about what you're doing. I'm making a sandwich, or I need to buy some apples. When you're relaxing in the living room, read an English book or watch an English video. In the mornings, listen to an English news update or practice vocabulary. These small changes build up over time and make a big difference in how comfortable you feel with the language. Find an English-speaking community. Even if you don't live in an English-speaking country, there are still many ways to find people to practice with. For example, join online language exchange websites like Italki, HelloTalk, and Tandem, which connect you with native speakers who want to learn your language while helping you practice English. It's a win-win. You can set up video calls or chat via text and audio messages. Attend local meetups. In many cities, there are English language groups or clubs where people gather to practice English. Check platforms like meetup.com to see if there's anything near you. Use social media. Join Facebook groups, Reddit communities, or Instagram accounts dedicated to English learning. You'll find people with the same goals, and you can support each other by sharing tips, asking questions, and practicing together. The key is to practice English in real-life situations. The more you speak with others, the faster you'll overcome any nervousness and get used to thinking on your feet in English. A balanced approach involves the 4 key skills to become fluent in English in 5 months. You need to work on listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Each of these skills reinforces the others, and together they build your overall fluency. Listening is essential for understanding native speakers and picking up on pronunciation, intonation, and conversational flow. It helps train your brain to recognize common phrases and sentence structures, making it easier to speak naturally. To practice listening, listen to English audio daily. Podcasts, audiobooks, TV shows, and YouTube videos are all great options. Active listening is important. Pause the audio and repeat what you hear. Try to mimic the speaker's pronunciation and rhythm. The shadowing technique is powerful as well. Find a short audio clip of a native speaker and listen to it while repeating the words just a few seconds behind the speaker. Try to match their tone, pronunciation, and speed. Speaking is the most direct way to develop fluency. The more you speak, the more natural and automatic your use of English will become. To practice speaking, speak every day, even if it's just to yourself. Narrate your day, describe what you're doing, or talk about your plans. The more you engage with the language, the better. Find a language partner or tutor to practice conversation regularly. If you can't find someone in person, try online platforms like Italki or Preply. Record yourself speaking and listen to it later. This will help you notice areas for improvement, such as pronunciation or grammar mistakes, and give you a sense of your progress. Reading expands your vocabulary and helps reinforce the grammar and sentence structures you've been learning. It's also a great way to expose yourself to more complex ideas and conversations in English. To practice reading, start with materials that match your current level. If you're a beginner, try reading children's books or simple news articles. As you improve, challenge yourself with more advanced texts like novels, blogs, or professional articles. Reading out loud helps with both reading comprehension and speaking skills. You'll practice pronunciation, improve your fluency, and get used to speaking English naturally. Keep a vocabulary notebook. When you encounter new words, write them down along with a simple definition and an example sentence. Review these words regularly to build your vocabulary. Writing helps you organize your thoughts, solidify your understanding of grammar, and improve your vocabulary. It's also a practical skill for everyday tasks, such as sending emails, writing notes, or updating your social media. To practice writing, start by keeping a daily journal in English. Write about your day, your thoughts, or your goals. It doesn't have to be long. Just focus on getting your ideas down in English. Practice writing short emails or messages in English. If you have friends who are also learning English, communicate with them through text or email. Join online forums or social media groups where you can engage in written conversations in English. Reddit, for example, has many communities for language learners. Ask for feedback if possible. Have a tutor or language partner review your writing and give you feedback on how to improve. By focusing on all four skills, you'll build a strong foundation in English and become a well-rounded communicator. Developing a learning schedule is important because consistency is key to reach fluency in 5 months. You need to practice English daily and make it a habit. Here's an example of a balanced learning schedule you can follow. Sample daily schedule, 3 to 4 hours per day. Morning, 1 hour. Listen to a podcast or audiobook while having breakfast. Review 10 to 20 new vocabulary words using flashcards or a language app. Lunchtime, 30 minutes. Read a short news article or blog post in English. Practice summarizing what you've read out loud. Afternoon, 45 minutes. Have a conversation with a language partner or tutor. Focus on everyday topics, like your plans for the weekend or something you did yesterday. Evening, 45 minutes. Watch a TV show or movie in English. Pay attention to how the characters interact and try to mimic their phrases and expressions. By following a structured schedule like this, you'll steadily improve all 4 language skills and reinforce what you've learned. Remember, it's not just about the amount of time you spend. It's about the consistency and quality of your practice. Dealing with challenges is part of the process. How to stay motivated. Learning English in 5 months is an ambitious goal, and it's natural to face challenges along the way. Some days you might feel frustrated or discouraged, especially if you don't see immediate progress. Here are some tips to stay motivated. Set small, achievable goals. Instead of focusing on fluency as a distant goal, break it down into smaller milestones. For example, aim to learn 10 new words a day or complete one speaking session with a tutor each week. Celebrate each achievement along the way. Track your progress. Keep a journal or log of your learning. Write down what you practice each day, the new words you've learned, and how you feel about your progress. This will help you see how far you've come, even on days when you feel stuck. Use positive reinforcement. Reward yourself when you reach a goal. It could be as simple as treating yourself to your favorite meal or taking a break with a fun activity in English, like watching a movie you've been looking forward to. Stay connected with other learners. Learning with others is a great way to stay motivated. Join a study group, participate in online forums, or find a language buddy. Sharing your experiences and challenges with others will keep you motivated and accountable. Remember your why. Whenever you feel unmotivated, remind yourself of the reasons you want to learn English. Whether it's for career advancement, travel, or connecting with new people, keeping your goals in mind will help you push through tough moments. Conclusion. You can do it. Fluency in English is within your reach. With consistent effort, quality practice, and the right mindset, you can become fluent in just 5 months. Remember, the journey to fluency is about more than memorizing words and grammar rules. You want to begin this journey but can't find the right path. So today, we'll discuss how to become fluent in English, from zero to fluent. How to go from zero to fluent in English. If you're starting from a very basic level, how can you reach a high level of fluency? This guide will be helpful for everyone, whether you're at the intermediate level or just above the beginner stage. This guide is going to be helpful for you. Now let's begin by understanding what we mean by zero level. You might think zero means nothing, but that's just a mindset. You're not at zero if you can understand some English. If you can understand English, you're somewhere above that level. Consider yourself at number 2 or 3. Our goal is to reach level 10, which represents fluency. You're currently at level 2 or 3 if you can understand English. This means you can listen to and comprehend the language. For example, if you're listening to my video, you're already making progress. Listening and understanding a language is a significant achievement. If I were to start speaking in Scottish, you wouldn't understand because you don't know that language. This highlights the importance of knowing a language. You should recognize that you've already accomplished half of the work by understanding the language. This understanding is your base. What we need to do now is build fluency on this base of understanding. There are specific steps I'm going to outline to help you achieve this. Let's start with step number 1. Step number 1, Survival English. If you're starting from a beginner level, focusing on survival English is crucial. Survival English is a part of spoken English. It's not typically used in written English because writing requires proper structures. However, when speaking English, you can often omit structures and focus on conveying the meaningful parts of a sentence so that the other person can understand you. Imagine you're in an English-speaking country where nobody understands your native language. You might struggle to form proper sentences due to uncertainty about grammar. In such a situation, you might use basic words to communicate. For example, if you're hungry and need to find a restaurant, you could approach someone and say, food, hungry, restaurant. These three words create a connection in the listener's mind. As soon as you say food, hungry, and restaurant, the person can understand that you're looking for a place to eat. If you use basic vocabulary like food, hungry, and restaurant, the person you're speaking to will understand that you need directions to a restaurant. They might either guide you to a restaurant or direct you on how to get there. Once you arrive, you can use simple words to place an order, such as calling out the names of food items or asking for the price. These meaningful words, whether nouns, verbs, or other parts of speech, are essential for survival English. Survival English focuses on vocabulary, the words you need to get your message across. Grammar structures like is, am, are, does, do, did, have, and had are not the focus here. Survival English is about using the vocabulary needed to communicate effectively and to get by in everyday situations. It's the minimum English you need to navigate an English-speaking environment for a day. Survival English is crucial because once you master it, you gain the confidence to speak English more freely. This confidence is key to progressing to the next step. Step number 2. Start speaking from day 1. Starting to speak English from day 1 is essential. I've emphasized this in many of my videos, including a dedicated video on this topic. The importance of speaking from the start is that the longer you delay speaking, the more you will hesitate. If you begin speaking right away, you can use the vocabulary and grammar you are learning in real conversations. The goal is to become a fluent English speaker, and speaking is a skill that develops with practice. If you wait to improve your vocabulary or grammar before speaking, you miss out on valuable practice. Speaking should go hand in hand with other learning activities like vocabulary building and grammar practice. For example, just like practicing a recipe repeatedly, you need to practice speaking English consistently. You cannot achieve fluency in one day, but through regular practice, your speaking skills will improve over time. If you use simple vocabulary like food, hungry, and restaurant, the person you're talking to will understand that you need directions to a place to eat. They might either guide you to a restaurant or instruct you on how to get there. When you arrive, you can use basic terms to place your order, such as mentioning the names of food items or asking about the cost. These essential words, whether they are nouns, verbs, or other parts of speech, are crucial for survival English. Survival English is all about vocabulary, the words you need to communicate effectively. Grammar rules like is, am, are, does, do, did, have, and had are not the primary focus. Survival English emphasizes using the vocabulary needed to convey your message and manage everyday situations. It's the fundamental English required to navigate an English-speaking environment for a day. Mastering survival English is important because it builds your confidence to speak English more comfortably. This confidence is key to moving to the next step. Step number 2. Begin speaking from day 1. Starting to speak English from day 1 is crucial. I've highlighted this in numerous videos, including a dedicated one on this subject. The reason it's important to speak from the beginning is that delaying speaking only increases your hesitation. By starting to speak immediately, you can apply the vocabulary and grammar you are learning in real conversations. The goal is to become fluent in English, and speaking is a skill that improves with practice. If you wait to perfect your vocabulary or grammar before you start speaking, you miss out on valuable practice. Speaking should go hand in hand with other learning activities like vocabulary expansion and grammar practice. Just like repeatedly practicing a recipe, consistent practice is needed for speaking. Fluency cannot be achieved in a single day, but with regular practice, your speaking skills will gradually improve. Everything you're doing is important, and reading is crucial. However, I recommend starting with listening before moving on to reading. Begin with listening and then proceed to reading. Step number 4. Speaking practice. To become fluent, you must prioritize speaking practice. It's essential because without consistent practice, fluency in English will be hard to achieve. But what exactly should you practice, and how? The key question is whether you are practicing effectively. You might practice a lot but not see results if your practice lacks direction or goals. Repeating the same practice without a clear objective can lead to a cycle where you don't make progress. To avoid this, you need a specific strategy and technique. For example, I've discussed the mirror talk technique in my lessons. This technique is an effective way to practice speaking. Are you using proper techniques and varying your methods to improve your speaking skills? This is a significant factor in successful practice. Speaking practice is vital. You need to dedicate some time each day to it. This is a must-do for anyone looking to improve their fluency. Where to find techniques and resources. If you're wondering where to find these techniques, I offer many lessons and resources. I have a video lesson specifically about 12 different techniques for practicing English speaking. Check out this lesson to explore various methods you can use to practice effectively. Additionally, I provide English speaking practice lessons where you can practice speaking with me. You can repeat after me, engage in shadowing, and use a specific playlist designed for these exercises. Practicing speaking under the guidance of a tutor or teacher is also very important. I have launched a free video series on YouTube to help you with speaking practice. Explore the lessons and playlists to start practicing with me. Consistent speaking practice guided by these resources is crucial for your progress. Step number 5. Basic grammar. Working on your speaking practice is crucial. Speaking practice should not be taken lightly. It requires effort and dedication. Put in the work, practice regularly, and you'll see results. Now let's talk about basic grammar. Grammar is an area that many people either overly focus on or completely avoid. There are generally two types of learners. Grammar enthusiasts. These individuals concentrate excessively on learning all the grammar rules and structures. Grammar avoiders. These learners want to speak fluent English but are unwilling to learn any grammar rules. Both extremes are problematic. You need to strike a balance. Think of it like finding the center of gravity. Achieving equilibrium is key. You don't need to master every complex grammar rule if you're not preparing for academic exams or formal writing. For everyday conversation and professional use, understanding basic grammar is sufficient. Basic grammar concepts, such as the use of do, does, and did, are essential. Mastering these simple concepts helps you construct sentences more accurately. When you know basic grammar, you'll feel more confident in forming sentences, which naturally enhances your fluency. Without a grasp of basic grammar, you may find yourself stumbling over sentence structures, which can hinder fluency and confidence. To address these issues, focus on basic grammar. This will help you overcome common problems with sentence formation and lead to more fluent and accurate English. Where to learn basic grammar. Don't worry about where to learn these basics. I've created a basic grammar series focused specifically on spoken English. This series covers the fundamental grammar needed for everyday conversation, not the more complex rules used in formal writing. Check out the Basic Grammar Series playlist to access lessons tailored to help you speak fluent and accurate English. This series will guide you through the essential grammar concepts that will improve your fluency. Grammar is important. Grammar is crucial, but focusing on basic grammar is even more essential. There are a few core concepts that you must understand to speak English fluently. Bonus step. Master all 4 skills. Now, let's move to a bonus step, which you can consider as step 6. You need to focus on all 4 language skills to achieve fluency. These skills are listening, speaking, reading, writing. These 4 skills, often referred to as LSRW, are fundamental to mastering any language. To effectively learn a language, approach it as a skill to be developed, not just a subject to be studied. Speaking is supported by the other 3 skills: listening, reading, and writing. Don't overlook writing, even if it seems less critical compared to speaking. I always recommend journal writing, as demonstrated in my video lessons. Journal writing allows you to practice writing in a structured format, which, even if not required academically, will enhance your overall language proficiency. Writing periodically helps improve your speaking skills, as all 4 skills complement and reinforce each other. To become fluent in English, focus on all 4 skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Improving these areas will support and enhance each other, leading to better fluency. We've covered the complete process of becoming fluent in English, from starting at 0 to reaching fluency. By following these steps, you'll be well on your way to becoming fluent. He's 5 steps are your foundation for achieving fluency, and applying them diligently will be transformative for your English-speaking skills. Let's discuss some important tips for fluency. Tip number 1. Focus on systems. For you as an English learner, this means shifting your focus from just learning English to integrating it into your daily life in a meaningful way. Instead of viewing English solely as a means to achieve something like landing a better job or passing a test, embrace it as a lifelong journey of continuous improvement. While goals can be helpful as milestones, systems help you transition from a short-term focus to a long-term perspective. Mastering a language is a gradual process that can take years. Systems provide a framework for consistent improvement, making the journey enjoyable and sustainable. By implementing these strategies, you'll build a more consistent English practice routine and move closer to fluency. Start focusing on creating effective systems today and watch as your language skills grow to achieve significant long-term benefits. It's crucial to focus on the small daily actions that accumulate over time. For example, if you make it a habit to learn 3 new words each day, it might seem like a small goal, but over the course of 2 years, this practice would add over 1,500 new words to your vocabulary. Imagine the difference this could make. You'd understand almost all the words you encounter while watching series or reading books, and you'd speak English much more fluently. If you're watching this video, you probably have limited time to dedicate to English learning, and I totally get that. I often feel like I'm constantly juggling tasks myself. This brings us to our next tip, which is crucial for busy people like us. But before we dive into that, if you enjoy videos that not only help you improve your English but also enhance your life, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon. We release new content every week to help you transform from a hesitant English learner to a confident speaker. Don't miss out. Tip number 2. Develop micro-habits. Let's explore the concept of micro-habits. Micro-habits are small, manageable actions that you can incorporate into your daily routine. The idea is to standardize these habits before optimizing them. Often, people start with ambitious goals like reading for an hour a day or trying extreme diets, but they don't stick with them. The key is to begin with small, sustainable actions that gradually build up. This approach leverages the compounding effect. For example, improving by just 1.2% each day would result in a 38-fold increase over a year. Conversely, getting 1.2% worse each day would bring you close to zero progress in a year. Small, consistent changes can have a tremendous impact over time. Consider weight loss as an example. Cutting just 110 calories from your daily intake can lead to a weight loss of 5 kilograms over a year. This principle applies to English learning as well. Instead of aiming for drastic changes, focus on tiny, easy-to-implement adjustments in your daily routine. The 5-minute rule. One effective strategy for overcoming the challenge of starting a study session is the 5-minute rule. Often, the idea of studying for an hour seems daunting, but committing to just 5 minutes can make the task seem more manageable. For instance, instead of thinking about studying English grammar for an hour, tell yourself you'll just listen to an English podcast for 5 minutes and jot down new vocabulary. This small commitment can often lead to longer study sessions once you're already engaged. The key is to make the process feel less overwhelming. Starting with short, manageable tasks makes it easier to overcome inertia and build consistency. Once you get going, you might find that you naturally extend your study time. By focusing on these micro habits and the 5-minute rule, you can integrate English learning into your daily life without feeling overwhelmed. These strategies will help you stay consistent and make meaningful progress over time. Veer time. When you begin by committing to just 5 minutes of study, such as listening to a podcast, you might find that you end up engaging for longer. The initial hurdle is often the hardest, but once you start, those 5 minutes might stretch into 10, 15, or even 30 minutes. The goal isn't to trick your brain into studying longer, but to build a consistent habit. Even if you only manage 5 minutes, that's still progress. I challenge you to incorporate a new micro-habit into your daily routine, having a conversation every day for just 4 minutes. This might sound a bit unconventional. Who would want to chat for just 4 minutes? However, with the real-life English app, you can easily have a dynamic conversation with someone from around the world anytime. It's an excellent way to practice speaking without committing to lengthy sessions. In addition, you can use the real-life English podcast to learn new vocabulary. The podcast is available for free on the app, and it comes with a full transcript. Soon, we'll also add vocabulary flashcards to help you remember and practice new words effectively. Download the Real Life English app for free from your app store or click the link in the description below to start improving your English today. Tip number 3. Consistency. Is key to truly master a language, consistency is crucial. One effective way to ensure consistency is to develop a bilingual lifestyle. This means integrating English into your daily life in meaningful ways rather than just studying it as a separate task. Here are a few practical tips. Change your device language. Set your phone, social media accounts, and computer to English. This will help you learn new vocabulary in context and make English a natural part of your daily interactions. Listen to podcasts. Regularly listen to English podcasts, whether they're designed for learners or native speakers discussing topics you find interesting. You can listen while doing other tasks like driving or exercising. Watch TV series in English. Make a habit of watching your favorite TV series in English, either with or without subtitles. This will help you improve your listening skills and familiarize yourself with natural language use. Engage with music. Listen to English songs and look up the lyrics. This can enhance your listening skills and expand your vocabulary in a fun way. Remember, 5 minutes a day is much more effective than 2 hours twice a week. The key is to integrate English into your daily life through small, consistent actions. This shift in mentality, from focusing on short-term goals to building daily habits, will help you make steady progress. We often wish for a quick fix or a magic solution to achieve our language goals, but real success comes from consistent daily effort. Whether it's studying vocabulary, practicing speaking, or immersing yourself in the language through various activities, committing to this process will yield results over time. Closing thoughts. If you follow these strategies and remain dedicated to the process, you will see progress. Language learning, like fitness, is a journey that benefits from regular incremental efforts. Keep up with your daily habits, and you'll find yourself becoming more fluent and confident in English. In the end, remember that learning a language is not just about reaching a final destination. It's about enjoying the small victories along the way and discovering the joy of being able to communicate in a new and powerful way. So keep going, stay positive, and most importantly, believe in yourself. You've got this. Good luck on your journey to English fluency.